Oops. I haven't done this in a while. I'll be right back. We haven't done this in a while, so
we are back.
that was a prototype for a Wheel of Time thing that I was like, yeah, I know how to stream. I know how to stream. What did you think of the new opener, chat? What did you guys think? Purple, what did you think? I told you about how I'm going hard in the paint now with all this stuff and talking about the stuff they don't want us to talk about. And what I figured out, Purple Valkyrie, is whatever we can't talk about is what's actually happened. Have you noticed that?
I mean, it kind of falls into that criteria now, doesn't it? It's gone from conspiracy theory to this is what's going to happen in the future.
Guys, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am literally just reporting what happened, what they say they're going to do, and then actual data of what happened after they've done it. But we're going to talk about some fun things. Then we're going to look at some stuff where I'm probably going to lose my mind and lose my channel on the show. I'm okay with that. I really am. Let me shout out all of the amazing people in chat. I haven't been ducking you. Purple and I, we're going to talk about the reason. We're not going to talk about the reasons why we've been a little quiet lately. And it's nothing personal. Nobody's dying that I know of. It kind of has to do with big tech in general. Nobody wants to hear this bullshit. It's not just affecting me. It's affecting a lot of people. I've reached out to a lot of other YouTube creators, and there are several that are thinking about rebranding because of kind of what this platform does to people who make actual content. There's just no other way to say it. Let me shout out who we got in chat. We got my man Nathan, a man of Manethrin, my brother, love him so much, good dude. We've got Nerdporial, who I was up talking late with last night along with Steve. We were talking about Space 2001. Subscribe to Nerdporial Lifeform. He's going to be doing a deep retrospective on 2001. Go check out his Metroid stuff and the other stuff that he's done. It's awesome to see you. And guys, bear with me. It's been a little while since I've done this. Gadfly Fiction is in the house. It's awesome to see you. I've checked you out in some of the other comments. We've seen each other in streams. It's awesome to see you. What do we got? Nerdporial is bringing the pain. He says, instead of us learning more about our place in the universe, what we get is wokeism. Well, we're going to get into that because it's not just that. It's also toxic food, toxic air, medical experimentation on saplings for profit. We'll just say that. I'll give you a check and think about saplings. Okay. And yeah, who else do we got in chat? Guys, let me just catch up because I don't want to be disrespectful. Sarah Smile. We got Smile While for me. My voice is not in good form today. It's awesome to see you, by the way.
Yes, we've got some amazing people in chat. We've got the lovely Squeaker. Great to see you, as always.
She and I were pinging each other about books to read, and it was kind of cool because we were both like, what are we reading? What are we reading? And I think I've turned Squeak a Mouse onto Neil Gaiman's American Gods because I love that book. Neil Gaiman's a douchebag, a total douchebag now, in my opinion. But yeah, hail to you. Who else do we got in
We've got
here?
Taylor there. Great to see you, lovely. We've got DJ Ronnie G. Hello there. We've got Shield Wall of Dragons. Great to see you, lovely, as
This is
always.
this is the army I would go to war with right here. Like
Yes.
a spiritual war, an existential war, and probably a zombie apocalypse war as well, which we may be facing all of those probably before the year 2030.
Yeah.
Hail to the Equalizer says, I just voted for food supply. Then I saw about the kids, that they're coming for the kids thing, and we need to find out who came with that, and they need to answer for it. Saplings.
Yeah.
Do you all understand? We all know what's going on. We all know that this platform doesn't want us to talk about it. We all know that a lot of terrible things are happening. And we're going to get into some of them. We're going to talk about some fun things, but we're also going to talk about stuff that I just kind of had it. Like, I said, Purple, you don't have to be on the show with me. You don't have to do this, but we're going to get into it. And I'm also going to point out things that are fact, that are being reported on by health agencies around the world. We're also going to talk about food supplies. We're also going to talk about a lot of things. Anyway, let me just get through this. My one and only, my true love, my brother, Nosferatu the Vampire. Hail to you. It's great to see you. And there it is. Yeah, the opener. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was blown away when Salty showed it me. I was like, that is amazing.
Yeah. Hail to Kayla Dare. Humanity is doomed. Well, we have a choice. We have a choice in all of this. Are we going to participate? Are we not going to participate? At what point do we stop just
consuming?
Yes. At what point do we say enough is enough? And I think we're doing it with entertainment. I think you're seeing profits across the board, especially organizations like Disney. That is another show that I want to do with people, because part of why I've been absent is I've been doing a lot of research on what the hell is going on, because I'm kind of tired of the, oh my God, that's so woke, and oh my God, they turned another Scandinavian character into an African. Like, are you tired of that shit? Are you tired of watching people tell you what you've already seen 10 fucking thousand times before? Because that's kind of where I'm at. And it's I'm not shitting on anybody, but it's like literally we have reached a place where I think where all of us have to make a decision. What is popular culture? Because if it's not popular and nobody goes to see it and nobody watches it, it's not pop culture. Or am I just crazy? Oh, DJ Ronnie G, he likes maple syrup. I do too, especially on hot women on a cold night. It's awesome to see you, by the way. Ian Soforth is in the house. Purple Valkyrie, how are you doing? I had people reaching out to me saying, has she been abducted? Did she have her organs harvested? Salty, did you kill Purple Valkyrie? And I'm like, dude, she's like over there. She's like in the UK.
I'm still here. I'm still live, still kicking. But similar to what Salty was saying, where do you draw the line? And if it's not fun to talk about, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We have a choice. We can say enough is enough.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we've gotten to.
Yeah. I mean, I postulated a while ago, and I'm not the only one, that part of what these entertainment propagandists is counting on is us reacting. So then they can take our reactions and generate marketing material for shit nobody's going to watch. And then they trick the algorithms into believing that shows are popular. We saw that with Witcher Blood Origin. Oh God, what is that viewing metric tool? It's out of Australia, the one that they use for streaming. That was predicated upon the fact that shows are popular because people are talking about it on social media or YouTube. Now, I'm not telling you what to do, but this parrot analytics thing was convinced that Blood Origin was going to be the most popular show ever, just like the Rings of Power, because so many people were talking about it, because this artificial intelligence has absolutely no idea how to differentiate between this is shit and I'm excited about this, you know?
Yes. You know what they say about
God.
Any publicity is good publicity. Yes.
All right. I'm going to stop going through chat. We're going to get into this. Purple Valkyrie, before we go, Doviende Se Tovius again, who's been a member of my channel for over a year. Hail to you, dude. He's been a Taveran for 15 months, says, oh, I'm missing these lives. We're going to do some more. I had to process some things. in case, I don't know how it's going for you, but the world seems hell-bent on destroying itself and the rest of us in movie studios, healthcare, banking, every sector, agriculture seems to be hell-bent on deindustrializing itself and destroying everything, but they're hitting their ESG target goals. And it's have you noticed that? Like Disney has got a gold star with the ESG stuff. Have you looked at how much money they're making though?
How's that bottom line? Yeah.
And what it comes down to is if they hit the ESG goals, they get the gold star, they get a lower interest rate on all the debt that they have from these banks to make these shitty movies that nobody goes to see that they keep losing money on. What point do you start making money to pay back those loans? Or do you just keep taking out more loans and getting a lower interest rate to make shitty? All right, that's not this show. We're not we got 22 people in chat. Purple Valkyrie. We're gonna start out with something crazy. This story comes to us from Las Vegas, Nevada, and no, it's not about strippers or ill-advised marriages, as far as I can tell.
Unfortunately, yes.
Las Vegas family claims to see aliens after several reports something falling from the sky. Now, this is not a tabloid press. This is the local media in Las Vegas. I forget, was I going to do this one, Purple, or you? I haven't done this in so long.
It's a little bit of both, wasn't it?
Okay.
We're going to go back and forth on this one because it involves a bit of acting, guys.
Oh, yeah. And I got to drop my levels so I don't look like Nosferatu. No disrespect. So this happened on April 30th, and it was around midnight Las Vegas time when the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, their video cameras captured something huge streaking across the sky in Las Vegas. Now, this was also witnessed in Utah, Nevada, and Eastern California. Something re-entered the atmosphere and seems to maybe have crashed in somebody's backyard. in Las Vegas. Okay. Now this is from News 8 News Now of Las Vegas, and they say that sources told investigators that something likely did crash into the yard, but exactly what remains unclear, and it's been more than 2 months later. Now, drone video shows there was a circular impact in the backyard. But beyond that, we don't have a lot of details. What we do have is the 911 recordings of the incident. Now, about 40 minutes after this crazy thing, and you can see it in the sky, a man called 911, and he and his family said that something fell from the sky and that there were two huge moving things in his backyard. Purple Valkyrie, talk to me about this.
Yeah, this is what it all starts to fall apart. Okay, so far so cool. Something streaks across the sky. It's seen in several states. We've seen this story before. Then something lands in the backyard, and it takes them 40 minutes to report it to the police. Now, I don't know about you, Salty, but if someone's walking around in my back garden, it's not going to take me 40 minutes. Because, they could be coming in through the back door. But it gets even better when they describe what these things actually are. Now, bearing in mind there was a circular crash zone that is described. These things don't seem to fit into this tiny, tiny little crash zone. Hello to Zombie Box.
I'm just running through these chat comments because I've missed you guys. You guys are so damn entertaining. You make me just look like a chump up here. I'm reading this one. Look at this. We've got Nas for Saltu. Look at this. I don't know what you guys are smoking or drinking.
It's an unholy union.
Pour me a couple fingers of whatever you guys are drinking because I'll join you tonight. Let me get back to this article real quick. So again, this happened on April 30th around midnight in Las Vegas. Now, this is the actual transcript of the 911 call to the Las Vegas Police Department. And if I remember correctly, I'm going to play the part of the caller who's seeing 10-foot tall aliens in the backyard, while the lovely, insane Purple Valkyrie will play dispatcher. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one is inside. It has big eyes, and it's looking at us, and it's still there. A caller told the dispatcher.
Okay. Where is this on your property?
It's in my backyard. I swear to God. This is not a joke. This is actually, we're like terrified.
So there's there's two subjects in your backyard.
Yeah, correct. They're very large. They're like 8, 9, 10 feet. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have like big eyes. Like, I can't explain it. And a big mouth. They're shiny eyes and they're human, but they're not 100% human.
Okay.
There we go.
Click.
Please consider that for Academy Award nomination this year, despite the fact that we are two white people and neither one of us are gay. So, just putting that out there. Here's the actual police report that they put in there. There's redacted information.
See, this whole story is a little bit on the ridiculous side, which is why we wanted to cover it. It also is a little bit sus that we're only just hearing about it after 2 months.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd.
Now, if you thought that it stopped being weird there, you would be wrong. So the Las Vegas Police Department sent 2 officers to investigate. Now, they have them on body cam saying, this is an officer, quote, "I am so nervous right now. I have butterflies, bro. I saw a shooting star, and now these people are saying there are aliens in their backyard." Now, the officers arrived at the home about a half an hour after the phone call. So that means about an hour and a half has occurred since the impact from the call to the police arriving. So they didn't really take it seriously, right? So they arrived, an hour and a half after the impact. Quote, "I'm not going to bullshit you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too," said an officer. "So that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard?" So we've got actual body cam footage here. Video shows an officer walking into the backyard to investigate, but, and this is where things get a little strange, Metro Police blacked out that part of his body camera video, citing privacy laws because they were on private property. However, when you do invite the police onto your property, that's kind of a different story, but I don't know what the regulations are in Nevada or Las Vegas. Quote, "I don't believe in it, but what I saw right now, I do believe in it," a witness told police. The officer said, "You guys seem legit scared, and I don't blame you." So, yeah, this is kind of the weirdness that we're looking at here. This is the backyard of the family where there's a circular impact site somewhere.
I mean, I guess vaguely. I mean, this is not exactly a large area to land a spacecraft in and to have a couple of 9-foot tall aliens wandering around in.
It is Las Vegas. And if anybody played Fallout New Vegas, there are aliens there. So the Las Vegas Metro Police investigation turned up no concrete answers. While initially this case was open for several days, the department decides to close the case. The family said officials returned to the home several days later to reinvestigate. Quote, "They told the homeowners," these are the police, "hey, if those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us." All right.
The Las Vegas Police Department, everybody.
Yeah, representatives from the nearby Creech and Nellis Air Force bases says they were not involved or consulted in the incident or investigation at all by the Las Vegas police. And a spokesperson for the Pentagon, the one that can't see UFOs at night because I guess planes don't have headlights, did not immediately respond to questions regarding this very highly suspect event. Valkyrie, talk to me about this. What are you thinking about
Very
this?
strange. I think it's a little bit too convenient that this has leaked now. I mean, this does coincide with another story that we will get to about a certain whistleblower. It seems that we covered aliens a little while ago and it died down. And guess what's back, everybody? It is UFOs. And we always say, if they're talking UFOs, what are they not talking about? So what are they trying to distract us from?
I agree with Nosferatu. I say we kick these aliens' asses. I have a super chat. This one comes from DJ Ronnie G. Thank you very much. For $5 says, "I find it suspicious that the mainstream media no longer shuns the UFO topic and pushes notions that UFOs are of extraterrestrial origin when Earth origin is still more likely. I agree
Mm.
with you.
Yep.
And Purple's actually going to get into that because there was some stuff that I talked to Dina with a late horror show in the background about some stuff about this latest whistleblower coming forward from the American defense industry, former a veteran, talking about his confirmed UFO evidence, and we're going to get into that. But again, whenever we start seeing stuff like this, I go back to what it was that Werner von Braun said on his deathbed. He predicted all of the things that are going to happen, that the Soviet Union would fall, that we would go to war in the Middle East, that all of these things would happen in the final step before global government and them getting rid of too many people on the planet. And he said this on his deathbed in 1973. I was 3 years old. It's documented, was that they were going to stage a fake UFO invasion to get everybody on board with a one world government. Now, these are not Salty's crazy words. These are those of Werner von Braun. Thank you so much for that super chat.
Absolutely. Can I just give a couple more shout outs
Please.
before we continue? We have got from our good friend Nerdporial, who here sent us a member chat. He's been with Salty for over 13 months as part of the Wolf Brothers. He says, been a while, sick open, I'm jealous. And he also gave a membership. So thank you, Nerdporial.
I love watching the video editing that Nerdporial does. Again, go subscribe to Nerdporial. Go check out his Metroid, his other fantastic retrospectives. He does a great job. Thank you so much, Brian. Thanks for being my friend. Thanks to everybody who's in chat. Zombie Box Review says they recovered Kathleen Kennedy from that UFO ship. If only we were, maybe they found her brain. I don't know. I don't think they have any brains at Disney. I just think they have pronouns. Anyway, yeah. Kayla Dare says aliens. Who else did you want to shout out? Purple.
Let's see. We've got Lord Thoth in the house. Great to see you. He says, "All for one world government won't work."
No, and that's part of why I decided to go live today, because again, I try and really do some deep analysis of the stuff I'm talking about, and especially with pop culture. Again, what is the definition of pop culture? That which is popular within the culture and widely regarded as representative of the culture. Have you seen anything from Hollywood lately, other than Top Gun 2, maybe Super Mario Brothers? Anything like that?
No.
It's not this show, but that's kind of where my head has been at, guys. So, yeah, Lord Thoth is in the house. There's a couple interesting movies coming out, run by Jim Cassavetes, that Disney tried to prevent from coming out. I will talk about that on another stream. And Mel Gibson is also doing a story about that, involving everybody's best friend, Jeffrey, who I am convinced is not dead. Could we all get on that page? He is somewhere doing his thing. That's what I believe. Now, that maybe it's a conspiracy theory, but you tell me, looking around here and what's going on, how is that an impossible thing? I think it's probably likely. Go ahead, Purple.
No, you're absolutely correct. Of all the improbable things, that's not on the list at the moment. Indeed. Great to see everybody. Look
Hail
at the
Whitechapel.
people.
Military-made aliens. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on. Those circular orbs that they captured in the Middle East and then captured other places. And then you guys have noticed this, right? These stories will be on the news cycle for less than 24 hours. And then they're just gone. Like this guy, the UFO thing that we're going to talk about with Purple Valkyrie. I've got evidence. Then it's gone. And then you got people are actually revealing what good old Joey B and Hunter B,
Yeah.
what they've been up to, with lots of fucking money going on, and then suddenly they got to indict Orange Man. And then we got to talk about UFOs. Again, curious news cycles. I'm not saying it's meant to distract us, but it's meant to distract.
It's absolutely.
You got in the house saying XCOM UFO defense. Roger that. All right, Purple Valkyrie, I am going to go ahead and share this article for you. It's been a little while. It's been a little while, guys. Be gentle with me. Let's
and,
see.
and hail to Silverlock. Great to see you. He's also sent us a very generous super chat. So
Oh my
thank
God,
you.
Silverlock, what's going on here? Okay, let me pull this up. Silverlock, I hope you were doing, and I'm going to pull this article out. Silverlock, I continue to appreciate all of the classic 80s board games, RPG games, books, the things in statues that you're showing. It means a lot to me because you and I are of the same generation, essentially. This is a $9.99 super chat. Thank you very much. It says, wow, Purple and Salty online again. Or wasn't it just me being absent? Good to see you all. No, we were taking a break for a variety of reasons. YouTube does not really care about the health and well-being of its creators, in my opinion. You've heard it from much bigger channels, but it's very true. Being shadow banned for a year sucks. Gonna say that. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat. Go ahead, Purple.
And if you don't believe us, please search for Salty's videos. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, again, this is not a Cry Me a River thing. I'm not going to out anybody, but I talk to a lot of other content creators that you know that are about my size or maybe a little larger. Yeah, they're pushing something else on the YouTubes. Can you guess what that is? Can you guess? Can you guess what it is? Zombie Box Reviews keep hitting on me. Buy me another drink and you might get lucky. Just gonna say that. So, all right, Purple. I'm gonna pull this thing up for you. Here we go.
Yes,
It is
thank you.
I will move the article as you see fit.
Lovely. So, as you can see, we had to talk about this because that's what we do. And of course, we are also skeptical about this fella. So, this is the story about the whistleblower in quotations that came out that should have been the biggest story of the year that's just kind of disappeared into the ether, as Salty correctly said. But they said, we're deeply skeptical, but a government whistleblower claims the US has recovered non-human spacecraft. We're definitely not alone. No, we're right there with you guys. So it says, before we get into this one, let's just say we're deeply skeptical. Same. But there's no getting around the key claims of this story. An Air Force veteran and former member of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency by the name of David Grosh has come forward claiming that in a series of interviews with the US government, they've secretly recovered alien spacecraft. Now, this isn't a new story.
No.
People have been saying this for decades. If you go all the way back to Roswell and probably even further back than that, we've always had stories of downed spacecrafts and being able to alien autopsies and all that sort of thing. But this is the first time that somebody, in quotations, official, has actually gone on record and said, yeah, it's all true, guys.
Yeah, and again, this thing just pops. It's out there and then it disappears. It's like nothing happened. So I was doing some deep diving on this. Purple, I know you were doing some deep diving on this. I'm not going to steal your thunder on this at all. Let me get to this from our man, Jolly's good friend Snowdub, who's in Dallas for $5. Hail, brother. You and I were hanging out there last year together. He says, at the con in Dallas, it's not the same this time without Salty and Purple. We did have high adventures. We did have entanglements with local law enforcement. We did almost get thrown out of a really good hotel.
That was such a
there
good
were
night.
some of us swinging off chandeliers in the conference room. Yes, all those things happened, and it wasn't Snow or I. I can't wait to see you again, dude, and it's great to see Snowdub. You guys check out Jolly and the Cotton Connection Snowdub. It's awesome to see you, brother.
Good to see you, love.
I'm going to post this comment and put it up there because, again, I'm not a victim. I'm not playing the victim. That's not what it is, but it's true. It's also true if you start changing your tune about certain shows. Go ahead, Purple Valkyrie. I'll let you do this. So
yes, let's jump back to something that is also very sus. So it says, let's pause for a moment to point out this is all unbelievably far-fetched, even supposing that the government could successfully keep such an explosive secret for such a long time. The broader premise just doesn't make any sense, and we'll go into why and why this guy is probably not at all legit in just a moment. If aliens had the incredibly advanced technology to visit Earth, presumably from another star system, they wouldn't have the tech for the ships to be piloted. Wouldn't they have the tech for the ships to be piloted by themselves rather than wasting time piling it with little green men that could possibly crash and never get back to Earth or from Earth? Are they interstellar drunk drivers? This poses the question. Salty, do you think that more likely to be drones crash landing, or do you think it's little green men driving these supposed ships?
So I think whenever we talk about the paranormal, or whenever we talk about aliens or UFOs or ancient civilization, I think we have something called our own normalcy bias. Okay, we exist as Homo sapiens with a unique set of experiences based on, depending on your age, the last 20 to 50 years. Okay, now within that time, we've had a lot of things in popular culture that have impacted us. I mean, look at Independence Day, Aliens, Star Trek, Star Wars, all those shows that have said, like, that is what space is, that is what aliens are, that is what time travel, all this other stuff. The problem with that is none of it is really applicable to what would be another species that would maybe live in another atmosphere, that consume different things, with a much older civilization that could be predicated upon entirely different things. I mean, they could be created as spores. I mean, all of these things, they could live under crushing weights of gas giants. Like, they are not going to evolve the way we as humans have evolved. And therefore, while I believe there are some unbreakable laws of physics and thermodynamics, it is possible, again, that because we are maybe not on the same frequency or the same dimension or the same whatever it might be as them, that we haven't even discovered yet, we have no idea what the hell we're talking about. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Like, there are things that exist that we do not understand. And I'm okay in living in a world like that. I think when you say that we have to live in a world where there is no wonder and there is no magic and there is nothing yet to be discovered, and that we here at the 21st century, with our grooming children and our GMO and our one world global government and hiding Jeffrey's Island and all of this bullshit that we're suddenly dealing with after the election of 2020, that somehow we are the pinnacle of everything in the universe, is fucking wrong. Can I just park that right there? Because if we are, we need to go back and turn around and do something else. Give me an EMP, give me a coronal mass ejection. Let's start over. Let's go back to the horse and buggy days, and let's make sure and eradicate those families who, over the last couple hundred of years, seem to be driving all of the evil that has been going on for a very long time in our now still in control of the world. I told you I wasn't going to hold back on this stream. We're just getting started.
Hell yes.
Let me get to this super chat while I'm still live. This is from Zombie Box Reviews. This is for 20 British pounds, I get a Shiba dog dressed in a traditional outfit, waving with Japanese fans. Thank you. I love getting Shiba Inus. They're awesome. Zombie Box, thanks for being so supportive.
Yes, thank you.
Purple, you had talked about Zombie Box Reviews and some of their channel content, if I remember correctly.
Yes, indeed. Zombie Box is from my side of the pond. It's so good to see him. Welcome everybody. We have missed you. We weren't being, we're not being funny. We just had to take a little break, but it is so good to see everybody. So thank you.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on in the world, and I'm trying to learn to be a little zen. And that doesn't mean giving up. It just means that when I launch, it is going to be precision. That's all I'm going to say. So it's great to see everybody. Purple Valkyrie. Yeah, no cops this time in Dallas. It's still early, Snow Dub. You know of whom I speak. Give him a big kiss on the lips, too. All right?
Yes, tell him, for me.
Tell him Salty and Purple miss him and smooches. Let's say that. And we got another super chat, then Purple will let you go again. This is from Doviendes Tovius again for $5. Says, glad you're back, guys. Hail. Well, we're glad that you are understanding. Yeah, we'll have to do a members chat and talk about some of the stuff going on and why maybe some things are the way they are. I will be doing more woo-woo. I probably will talk about Wheel of Time a little bit, but my God, I am fucking done. I am done being the marketing arm for these woke studios. I cannot consume this shit anymore. I cannot participate in this. Um, Popular culture is popular within our culture. Tell me what has been made on streaming in the theater that is popular within our culture. Because if it's not that, it's failed propaganda. Purple Valkyrie, you got anything to say on that before?
I was just going to add in what is culturally significant.
Thank you, Purple.
Where is the class that
Thank you.
we once had? Thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
Yeah. And look at this. Whitechapel says, with some platforms dying off and more coming here and other places, YouTube will ramp up their favoritisms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look at what Twitch did. Apparently, you just got to make stuff and they don't get paid because reasons. All right. Let's get back to this article. Please hit that thumbs up button and vote in the poll. Go ahead, Purple.
Yeah, so let's get back to this so-called whistleblower and why we think he's not quite what he's claiming to be. So it says, at the very least, this whole idea should have been a massive dust-up with potential for us to get a glimpse into the more secretive parts of the government. Grosh, as this whistleblower, then filed a complaint, the debrief report, stating that he'd already gave classified proof, and they put proof in quotations, to Congress that the government has been excluding him and the rest of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena UAP task force from assessing its program about the retrieval of non-human craft. So which is it? Are they non-human or are they just crafts? What are we talking about here, guys?
Well, here's the problem, and you guys in chat, let us know what you think. This is a guy who didn't walk forward with an old dusty briefcase, a bunch of microfilm, old 35 millimeter black and white negatives from the 50s, 60s, or 70s. He didn't come out with a logbook. He didn't come out with a floppy disk or something of old images, or a CD drive or a USB stick. All of what this guy told us is because a dude told him.
Yeah.
He knows a guy.
Some guy.
There's a guy, and he can't tell you who he is. There's a dude that told him all this shit was real.
So essentially, it's all secondhand information that he just happens to be passing on and claiming to be a whistleblower. So none of this actually happened to the man in question, Dave Grosh. It's all stuff that he's heard throughout his career. And he's just chosen this particular time and this particular year to come out and say, you know what, guys, aliens exist. Here's the proof of it.
Debsy says we may need to spread democracy to these aliens and their resources. Well, the aliens would have to have about $500,000 for Hunter Biden's art, and also be able to provide lots and lots of cheese pizzas. Yeah, I don't care anymore. I genuinely don't give a shit. This is the world we live in. This is what's going on. I swear to God. This is from Sarah Grian. Cheers to you.
Hey.
Says to both you and I was worried that I have not seen you two for so long. So glad to see the two of you. Sarah Grian was somebody that we met at Dallas last year. Well, it's awesome to see you. We just, some people have called it sabbatical. I call it a little break. And to think about what I want to do with my channel and do I want to be on this platform anymore? And yeah, that's kind of what's going. It's got nothing to do with you guys. It just has to do with when you put a lot of time and effort at making content and you're not just trying to chase the algorithm. It's a little, it's kind of challenging to be shadow banned, you know, and among other things. But yeah, this isn't about that, and we're not going to talk about Salty's menstrual cycle. That's not what it. We're not here to talk about that. So, I heard you laugh, Purple. Thank you for giving me that seal of approval. All right, let's talk about. DJ Ronnie G says 98% of the comments under the recent interview on The Hill were people who blindly, enthusiastically went with the alien angle. They'd be like, "But the guy said aliens in the report."
Mm-hmm. And this is the issue, and this is why I think this story is, one, it's so important, and two, it was so easy to get out there and then for it to disappear out of public consciousness, because this is the sort of information, and this is the what people are now. We have such short attention spans. It's gone.
Now, You and I did something talking about what was it? Chinese weather balloons?
I
What
remember
was that?
those.
Remember that when they said there were
Yeah,
UFOs? You remember that when we
yeah.
went live and we got a lot of views and a lot of people were and I was like, "Holy shit, what's going on?" And I meant it. And
Hmm.
we still do not know what happened that night. You remember that when they were tracking objects over Alaska, over Montana, over fucking Minnesota, over Latin America, over the UK, and then it just went away. Okay. Now, one word since that's happened. Now we're getting these little popcorn articles, almost like it's a little dopamine thing, and they're trying to keep a narrative alive.
Hmm.
Again, from my perspective, this is because they're going to use what's going on in the Crimea. Somebody's going to launch a tactical big boom, and you know what I'm talking about, because that won't all be staged and planned. And then what they'll have happen is the magical alien fleet will be lasered and holographically shown through some DARPA program all over the world. And we've been conditioned to accept it based upon all these bullshit things that we've had. And the aliens are going to tell us only Klaus Schwab has the solution to everything. Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, all of those guys. You need a one world government. Need to eat the bugs. You need to own nothing and like it. And trust us, we're aliens. We're legit. That's what I think all this bullshit is about. Purple Valkyrie.
Yes. And by the way, how's your social credit score?
Oh
Yes.
yes,
Hmm.
yes.
It is. It's that little drip feeding of
Yeah.
information, and that, as we have found, is the most effective way to keep it in the back of people's minds. You know, you bombard people, and
Oh,
you get the initial knee-jerk reaction, and then people go on to the next thing. But if it just kind of trickles in ever so slowly, it reminds people of, oh yeah, I remember that alien story that we had a few weeks ago.
I apologize. Kayla Dare, I'm going to apologize to you and Sarah Gray. And I got everybody mixed up. I met Kayla Dare, not Sarah Green, but she promises I'll never forget that day. I suddenly think that Sarah Green's trying to tell us that she's uh, probably an alien herself. You're probably, I mean, you could be some hybrid species, or maybe she's like actually Donald Trump in disguise. Watching our streams. I don't know. We'll find out. Sarah Green, I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've done this. And then, of course, we've got Godzillionaire saying, "What is your alien credit score? How many times have you let them put egg sacs inside you after you chopped off your natural biology and you've been eating the bugs and living in your pod? Have you helped your alien overlords reproduce by having eggs put in your brain? Have you? Bigot, bigot." Doesn't it sound crazy? And then look at what they're doing with kids. Like, seriously, I'm going to stop right there. But it's not just clown world. We live in evil effing clown world.
Yeah,
Really.
we make fun of it, but these are incredibly serious topics that we're trying to cover in as, you know, as humorous a way as possible. But please, please, guys, as we always say when we do these shows, don't take our word for it. Do the research. This isn't conspiracy theory anymore. This is what is happening out in the world.
Yeah. And Debsy, I agree with you. What I'm trying to do with this article is point out that there's been no evidence that this guy, hard evidence that this guy's put forward. I
Hmm.
would like for this guy to be real. I would like for a whole bunch of people to come out and give us GPS coordinates and give us data and give us video. I'm not going to say that this guy is the equivalent of somebody in West Virginia who's been drinking paint thinner going, "I got Bigfoot in my backyard." That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we can all point out and say things like, "I saw this," or "I was abducted by aliens," but without any type of proof at all, whether it be physical or whether it be photographic or audio. His testimony, simply because he was in the government, I've known a lot of people who have been in state and federal government and in the defense industry, and I'm going to leave that right there. I wouldn't trust them with my liquor cabinet or my car. I'm just going to say that, okay? And that's no disrespect for our veterans, but I always question intentions. I always question intentions. I want this guy to be real. I would love if there were aliens around, because then we can have them zap all the sapling lovers out there. You know what I mean? Purple, what do you think? Am I being treating this too harshly?
No, not at all. I think the best way to come at this is with skepticism, because at the end of the day, we need proof. This guy can say anything he likes, and the reason why I think that this is probably not a legit story is how quickly it disappeared. If this were legit, this would still be an ongoing thing. This should be the biggest story of the year. You know, somebody with proof comes forward and says, "We're not alone in the universe."
Yeah.
That should be the be all and end all.
I think Tucker Carlson talked about it on
Hmm.
his own Twitter thing. Purple, I'll let you continue on in this article, and then we will press on to other things. No rush, though.
Yes, absolutely. I'll just pull up a few more things and
Yeah,
see what he
please
said. So
take
it
it.
says Grosh told the debrief that the retrieved objects are of exotic origin, i.e., non human intelligence, whether extraterrestrial or unknown origin, based on the vehicle morphologies, the material science testing, and the possession of unique atomic arrangements and radiological signatures. Now, all of that means what exactly? Not a lot, really. We prove
It
it.
so when we start talking about morphology, that means
Hmm.
how something is constructed. So
Yes.
I like this guy's language because he can at least talk the talk that you would find in DoD, especially working in special projects or DARPA projects, um, of exotic origin, meaning non-human, based on vehicle morphologies and material science testing. Now we have heard about material science testing going back to Roswell, of course, Lazar.
Yes.
Look at Lazar. You know, Bob Lazar, what he saw, it's very consistent with the testimony or what the evidence this guy has presented. In Lazar's case, the fact that he does have dudes in black cars following him and trying to break into his research lab, I don't know. You know what I mean? But
I would be more inclined to say he has far more credence than this guy.
yeah, I mean, in possession of unique atomic arrangements. So, what does that mean? Is we're dealing with extraterrestrial compounds that are from somewhere else that do not exist in our known in our solar system, or we just not encountered yet, or the government hasn't told us they've discovered through other things.
Mhm.
One thing I do want to talk about again is, did you guys know China's digging a fucking hole, the deepest hole in the world right now?
Because there's absolutely nothing that could go wrong doing that.
It's going to surpass the deepest hole that was ever dug in Siberia by the Soviet Union going back into the 80s. They're not telling people why. Now, this article is making the rounds, but they are digging very, very, very deep.
Yes. On paper, they said that they're looking for water, if I remember correctly, in between the layers of the earth. I am calling that a fake, a fib, a lie, whatever you want to call it. They're digging far, far deeper than any groundwater.
Why I brought that up is, again, there's always a commercial reason for what everything these people do. You know, whether it be ordering cheese pizza,
Hmm.
whether it be you'll eat bugs and like it, whether it will be you can't use your own natural gas, you can't use stoves, all of this shit. They can sit there and say it's because of my climate, but it's not. It's about they hate you. They want to kill all of us, and they want to make a lot of money doing. Go ahead, Purple.
Yes, I just wanted to shout out a couple more people. You've got a brand new member. Big
Oh,
thank you to Zombie Box. Thank you. Great to see you,
thank
as
you, Zombie
always.
Box.
Thank you so much. And who else have we got? Did we say Whitechapel? Good to see you,
Yes,
Whitechapel. Hey there.
awesome one is in the house as well.
Yes. You guys are amazing. So good to see everybody. And Nathan's back. Here he is.
He's a troublemaker. Go subscribe to Amanda Manethrin. He does great work. He moves. He's doing some really great commentary with the White Cloaks as well as read-alongs with Nerdporial. He's a solid dude. Nathan says, someone tell them that rice won't grow when planted that deep. I could make a lot of jokes about Taiwanese whorehouses, but I will not. And but what I will say is that whatever they're doing down there is, I'd like to know more. You know, China has been building something that, again, it's in the news cycle and you don't hear about it. Apparently, China discovered how to do fusion. And they're building the largest fusion reactor, which will burn hotter than our sun.
Again, absolutely nothing could go wrong with that.
Nothing could, they're going to do this. And, you know, there aren't a lot of elements that are capable of doing that, but one of them exists on the moon. Do you know what that is?
I don't. What's it called?
Helium
Helium.
3. What's fascinating about that is that China is also going to be going to the moon, um, because they've already sent a bunch of probes up there and other shit that they haven't shared intel with us. But they're going to go there, and they've actually kind of ridiculed NASA and saying we will be the first human beings to set foot on the moon.
So you telling me that they're going to mine the moon? They're
Well,
going to
they're
claim the
not
moon.
they're not going up there for selfies. I've seen a lot of them at national parks and get they do stupid things with large animals like bison. Yes, that's probably racism. Ask me if I give a fuck. But my point with all of this is that China is all business, and China is doing shady shit as ever. I mean, why not? Right? They're in bed with the globalists. That's what they want. They want the Chinese social credit system. My point with all this is they're digging this hole. They're building this huge fusion reactor. They're going to turn it on. There's been nothing practical that says this works, or that it's not going to blow the F up like some big continent, like major thermonuclear destruction that turns China into a parking lot. I mean, and the rest of us have to deal with it. But now they're doing all this stuff. And you know what we're doing here in the United States? We're making sure that we have adequate trans representation in every goddamn thing out there. That's where our priorities are. We can't have gas stoves. We can't have air conditioners. Over there, they're building
gardens.
fusion reactors. Do you think the two are not connected?
Mm-hmm. One rule for one rule for another.
Purple Valkyrie, please continue your
Yes, let's wrap this up with a couple of quotes from our man, the whistleblower. So he said, "We're definitely not alone." He later told News Nation. The data points quite emphatically that we are not alone. Prove it again, please, sir. So, in short, it sounds like we're talking about a full-blown UFO conspiracy theory that not only suggests we've been visited numerous times by aliens, like the ones in Vegas, but that the government has been actively trying to cover them up for decades. Yeah, I mean, this isn't new to anybody who is familiar with the whole idea of aliens crash landing to Earth and visitations. It was a huge thing, especially in the 70s and 80s. You couldn't go more than a week without stories of alien abductions, which, by the by, seems to have kind of disappeared as well. Funny that people don't say they've ever been taken by aliens anymore.
No, what I have seen are stories of cattle mutilation.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to go find those in regional newspapers, especially in Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Texas. I'm also finding them in Australia as well. It's the same MO where this laser surgical precision removing of parts of cows. I mean, I still don't know what the hell that is, but you've put my money on, and it's probably the same people that like ordering cheese pizza.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Go ahead, Purple.
So I'll put it out to you and I'll put it out to the chat. What do you think, guys? Do you think that this guy was legit? Do you think that he's risking everything to come out and tell us this huge story? Or do you think that this is all part of a much bigger plan, as we've talked about, to keep this whole idea of aliens and alien invasion in the back of people's minds, in the public consciousness for a little bit longer?
I'm actually gonna look at this article because I'm not saying my solution, and I think it's your solution too, Purple, but I won't speak for you. I really do think that, like so much, we are being fed a toxic simulation that has nothing to do with reality. We are having everything that we know, 2 + 2 = 4, changed, that there are only 2 genders, that meat is important, that you don't need to have 47 injections before you're the age of 2. Things like that. They're trying to prep us for this because they know nobody wants to own nothing and like it. Nobody wants to eat bugs. Nobody wants to live like the Chinese. Nobody wants their pop culture, their history destroyed, the monuments of their history destroyed. Nobody wants that. So they got to force it somehow. And I think this is their big push here. This is the next wave of this shit. It's from the article. Why is he coming forward now? Quote, to prepare the public for an unexpected non-human intelligence contact scenario.
And there you have it.
Gorsh said this is a global phenomenon, yet a global solution continues to elude us. Notice the language, a global solution. Skeptics, of course, will point out that if multiple governments are in on the supposed cover up, it seems even more implausible that they could have managed to suppress the evidence for years. What does all this mean? I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm just going to give you some of the information and you guys tell me what you think. Purple, I've said what I think. At the end of the day, I think this is just another shoe to drop, you know? Just like Pfizer just copyrighted and trademarked and got a patent on a brand new virus that somebody somewhere engineered. I think it was the DoD. But they rushed through yet another thing, and it's a hybrid of HIV, bird flu, and this is going to shock you, the COVID thing. This is the world we live in. You know, YouTube doesn't want me talking about this. I don't fucking care. Take my channel. I'll start a different one. You know, I just don't give a shit anymore. We need to be aware because in my opinion, there are people who are actively trying to delete us because in case you haven't noticed, we don't have borders anymore. And what they're really interested in is not us. We're really problematic. You know, people that have Western values, that are educated, that want democracy, that want all of our amendments, First Amendment, Second Amendment, all of those amendments. That's problematic for people who are globalists, who really envy what China has done because China doesn't have any of that. And there's a whole bunch of really rich people who live like gods and says who lives and who dies. And if they want to commit genocide, they can. And that's what they've been doing for decades. Where's Salty going with this? Salty's going to the place where what would surprise you? What do you find unbelievable in June of 2023? What are the people who are in charge, in your mind, incapable of doing? Because I don't have an answer to that. I don't think there's anything that they're not incapable of doing or that they're not doing right now. Purple, am I crazy?
No, not at all. 10 years ago, I would have said maybe a lot of these are a little bit far-fetched, a little bit far out. There's no way that a government or any government would ever treat their population like this. And then COVID happened, 2020 happened, and we all got locked down and we all got told that we had to take certain precautions. And we found out that people were more than happy to be good little slaves and follow the rules as long as they think that they're doing the right thing.
That was the big shock of my life is I didn't think there were so many people who were so incapable, just people walking around that wanted to control and do harm and lord over other people. That's the thing that shocked me. You know, and here's the thing, those people, a lot of those people got like 6, 7, 8, 12, so they're no longer with us. Gonna park that right there. But who's going to replace them? You know what I mean? I think that I'm going to stop talking because this is going to go down a dark rabbit hole. Did somebody tell Shield Wall of Dragons what the whole cheese pizza thing is about? Because I will not say it. It's not because I'm a coward. It's
if not, I'll DM you, Shield Wall. I'll fill you in later.
Yeah, China's digging a hole, and I think Godzilla nailed it for the live action Diablo movie. I think you're probably right. Or that's where they're going to bury all the hundreds of millions of dollars in Funko Pops that nobody wants from Buzz Lightyear and all the recent Marvel movies.
There's a lot of those Ray action figures still on the shelves.
Oh, and Raya, and remember all that stuff?
Oh, yes.
I'm just going to go through that. Here we go. Yeah, I've already been in the gulag. I already am, guys, and that's fine. That's, you know, it is what it is. Whoops, Nosferatu. Let me pull this one up, and then we'll go to the big article. Salty and Purple, have you two read Industrial Society and Its Future? I did a long time ago. I also read something from the French neo-communist school called The Society of the Spectacle. It was required reading at the crazy college that I went to when political correctness was all the rage. Now, all those kids I went to school with are 50-something like me, and now they're in academia. It's professors, they're politicians, they're in transnationals. I know some of them. The ones that didn't delete themselves because of what they were doing. Story, okay? All of this is Marxism. That's all that it is. And in some ways, it's American Maoism. And I'm not going to turn this into an ideological show, but that's what's happening. When we talk about woke, we're really talking about Maoism converted to American consumerism for the same purpose, which is to bring communism, which check the history books on the body count on that one. You know,
But next time, Salty, next time they'll get it right.
it's always one more mass grave away. Like tomorrow, that mass grave over there, we're gonna have the workers' utopia. But it's always tomorrow. All right. Let's do this big article here, Purple Valkyrie. This is what I made, what I think was a pretty cool thumbnail on. Now, I don't really go to Lou Rockwell a lot. I'm using this site because it's easy. This was in multiple other, I think it was The Spruce, a whole bunch of other websites, essentially. Lou Rockwell really did. Wahid, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Yeah. Yeah, I love your guys' comments in chat. Thank you. It makes me feel like I'm not alone, you know, because we are just bombarded with lies nonstop. This just fucking lies. All right, let's get into this article in purple. I'll let you jump into. This comes to us from LouRockwell.com. 5 events that will destroy Earth and humanity. I told you we'd go out with a bang today. This was originally written by Helena Glass in the Nationalist Voice. So UK scientists have declared that based on life insurance data for the United States, this is not Salty saying this. This is not me pulling something out of my ass. This is UK scientists evaluating insurance data from the United States, that we are losing in excess of 500,000 to 600,000 citizens every year due to the jab. Do your own research. Please. You will see that there is no hyperbole to this article. Remember how the elderly were initially the targets? Like, we have to save grandma?
Yep.
Now a lot of them are no longer with us, which is truly regrettable. But one thing that happens with the elderly is they tend to vote very, not very liberally, you know? Now, the vast majority of these excess deaths are healthy workers in the United States between the age of 18 and 50. And I would go a step further, look at the mortality rate of teenagers.
Yes. And healthy teenagers up until that point.
Purple, if there's any comments in chat, stop me, because I'm obviously not on that
Will
screen.
do. Yep.
So small businesses continue to need more employees, while big woke corporations are doing what? All of these tech organizations, finance organizations, they're laying off a shitload of people due to, people will say, well, it's a contracting economy. But yeah, the economy is contracting. Why? I know where I live, and I don't know where you are. I live in a small town. They cannot find people to work. There's no kids that are working the jobs that I did in the 80s and 90s. Everyone who works at my grocery store is over the age of 40, with one exception. People at my hardware store, there's only one cashier who's in high school. There's one college kid who works behind the gun counter. Cool dude though. Walgreens, all of these little stores, all people, maybe at best 10 years younger than I am, and I'm 53. Where are all the kids? Now, I know what they said is the pandemic. The kids didn't want to work. Nobody wants to work. If I had a teenager, I'd drag their ass out to go work at Kmart or the grocery store, or whatever it was, to get them the hell out of the house. The problem here is that really, where did all the people go? Where did all the people go who did all these jobs? Now, I work in a sector that I've talked about before, where that sector imploded and drove out people that were highly skilled that we already had a shortage of. And let me tell you how that's going. I talk about it with Purple Valkyrie, and I'm not going to talk about it here. Be afraid. I'm going to tell you that soberly with what they're doing. JP Morgan was another one of those finance groups. They just fired about, I think it was a couple hundred or 10,000 people, and then reposted the jobs with 13,000 new job openings. Now, why is that? Now, what you do is you fire FTEs, full-time employees. You fire FTEs because they cost more from an accounting standpoint. Okay. If you fire those people, you don't have to pay for insurance. You don't have to pay for vacation. You don't have to give them all the shit you don't have to give them a 401k. You can fire them all and then make them reapply to a job to be a contract worker, which means you don't have to pay for insurance. You don't have to pay for a bunch of shit. And you can do some accounting tricks so that they don't look like they cost as much as if they were a full-time employee.
Hmm.
In reality, though, they do cost more upfront because of the fees that you pay to consulting agencies or contract agencies. It's insane, and yet this is how corporate America works. Were you going to say something, Purple?
I was in the UK. We have something similar. They introduced only a few years ago what's called the zero contract, 0 hours contract. So in a sense, you don't actually have to have a particular set number of hours. It's just how many hours a job will give you. So there is no job security, and they can yank it if ever they want to. So a lot of people got very, very worried, and the same as Salty over here. You know, teenagers, people in their 20s, people that did entry level jobs, little weekend jobs just to tide them over. They're gone. There are no teenagers working anymore.
It's so weird because I remember, I mean, my grandparents had a farm, so, like, yeah, yeehaw, you know what I mean? But you just grew up and you wanted to do things. You wanted to learn how to drive the tractor. You wanted to learn how to work on engines. You wanted to do shit. Then again, we didn't have these things. We didn't have them. I mean, our iPhone was a book and the television, which has 3 channels on. It was about doing physical things that existed in physical space. And now we're seeing, I don't know if that's a result, and I'm not just going to throw an entire generation under the bus and call them shit, because I remember what it was like as Gen X with the baby, and we were shitting all over us while they were just as narcissistic and full of shit as the millennials. No disrespect, Purple and millennials, but I have to deal with it all the time. I just, common sense. Can we have, never mind. All right. That's not what we're talking about here, but yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why these kids wouldn't want to work and make their own money and learn some self-respect and learn how to overcome. That's probably what it is resilience.
Yeah. And Dempsey, absolutely correct. Yeah. Go into a trade.
I've told some of my friends with their kids, don't send your kids to college. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't went to college. I would have become an electrician. Seriously. Get to drink beer with the guys and you don't have the vice presidents and executives that I have screaming me all day. And I can't tell them to go fuck themselves, which is really hard. But yeah, this one from Awesome. When kids think being a streamer is a new job, just play games and super chats or just show your tits. You can make a lot of money doing that, but you have that is not a full-time life skill. You know what I mean? There's a certain point, gravity, other things. At certain points, you are not the cheese pizza that they want anymore. They want a fresher cheese pizza, if you know what I mean. So, yes. All right, I'm going to continue on with this article. Salty does have a point. So simultaneously, the installed regime here in the United States is importing hundreds of thousands of people who didn't enter this country legally and have no identification. I'll just say that. To do service sector jobs for an agricultural work. Now, I did see something where they busted, I think it was a slaughterhouse for using young children that were in this country, not documentedly, and not paying them anything, almost like slave labor. There's a big country in Asia that Purple, they use their weaker population in a very similar way. Are you starting to get it? These corporations are jealous that they can't use slave labor like they do over there. Or is Salty crazy? Yeah. Meanwhile, the US and the EU bemoan the lack of a next generation as the population ages and the World Economic Fund demands depopulation. These are not my words. Look at it. We are not replacing ourselves. Yep. Why do you think the UK, Sweden, all these countries are being flooded with people from Africa, the Middle East? Because the success of democracy is that you don't have a bunch of kids. You have like maybe 1 or 2 kids and you just kind of chill out and you have a stable society where the population isn't off the charts. In the third world, that's not the case. And that does not work for these corporations. What they want is a lot of cheap labor. They want uneducated people who will follow the rules that they set up or will follow warlords that they bargain with to control everything. Look at what has happened in South Africa. You want to understand what is going on in the West? Look at South Africa.
Mhm.
Go find
Yeah.
a real article about it. I'm just going to say that. Go ahead, Purple.
No, you're absolutely correct. Their idea is a dumb population that doesn't question anything, that is happy to just go along to have whatever is given to them, and if they can get something for free, well, that's just perfect as well. Gen X technology free,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we did have that little handheld LCD football game. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember
And we
that.
did have, I had a calculator watch. I thought it was the shit. Seriously. Casio. And you know what? If you put 8008 in it, it spells boobs. Used to do that all the time. It was a huge hit, like in 83, 84. The classics never go out of style, guys. Squeaka says, I tell kids all kinds of bad, horrible things. You mean like the truth? like they're coming to get you and they want to do medical experiments on you and get you hooked on pharmaceutical drugs so you're a cash cow. See the aforementioned big T thing.
Yes, and one thing that we've talked about as well is an unhealthy population is a population that's easily controlled.
Absolutely. Obesity. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Lizzo. I don't care. Here we go. Let me get through this article. So, what is Salty going on about? Now, Lou Rockwell asserts that the world is now unsustainable. I'm going to say that the world has been manufactured into crisis. The world was sustainable and not sustainable in that we need to eat bugs and alone nothing and like it kind of way. How many food processing plants have burned down? How many farmers in the EU have been told that they can't plant crops because planting green plants in the ground is bad for the environment? How many cows are they going to murder in Ireland, in Denmark? And they're trying that shit here in the United States. Why? Because suddenly cows and the domestic population of cattle around the world has fallen substantially in the Western world for decades, okay? But suddenly we have to murder all of our milk producing cows and our beef cows because their flatulence is going to melt all of the ice.
Death by cow farts.
Sorry. It's going to melt all the ice and everybody's going to drown, especially Obama, who just bought a new mansion in Hawaii right on the ocean, along with Leonardo DiCaprio, Jason Momoa, Oprah Winfrey, all these people who I don't know if they, if you know, they're just going to pick up their mansions that are right on the fucking shore now. But they don't seem too worried about this whole changey thing with the weather.
No, they don't seem too bothered about it, do they? It's also worth looking at, if you ever want to go down a rabbit hole, just check out some of the celebrities that have secret bunkers. That's always a fun one.
Yeah. So we're now in a situation where arguably there's not enough food. Again, they engineered this crisis. They did. There's not enough water. Again, what did Newsom do in California before this big snow that we had last year? He deliberately drained all of your reservoirs in California. You guys had enough water, but he drained them all to create this crisis, just like he let the forests turn into tinder because they didn't allow good selective logging, which is what has been done for generations. Look at what's going on in Canada. I'm going to do some research on this, but I'm seeing a lot of evidence, Purple Valkyrie, that all of those wildfires that are occurring in Canada allegedly all started at the same time. Now, there's satellite video that shows that. Would it surprise you that they would go to those links to create crisis? Would it surprise you?
No. In 2023, no, not at all.
Not enough gas and oil. It's funny, I was reading an article where they've actually improved fracking technology where we can now double the amount of oil we got out with even less of an environmental impact. Not to mention the United States is sitting on enough natural gas. So even if our population increased 5% compoundedly, if every home, car, building, industry was only run on clean burning natural gas, we would have enough natural gas in North America to last us 100,000 years. Why do you think they're doing what they're doing in California, Washington State, New York with natural gas stoves? Why? This is all really simple, guys. It's all really simple.
Does this feed into the same story that people have to register their allotments in gardens
Oh,
now?
yeah.
The government is like, no,
So,
don't
yeah.
think so.
Yeah, so part of what we're looking at is they're letting all these people into all these countries because there's a theory to fill all of the excess death of the native population. You know, all of us that they say have white supremacy, you know, like the Latinos who have white supremacy, or the people from the Middle East who've emigrated here who don't want their kids to be shown queer stuff in school. You know, those white supremacists. But it's like they're bringing in all of these people, unskilled labor, just to come into the country, but that's not going to solve the crisis of the skilled people with experience that know how to do the jobs in this country. And that's where AI comes in.
Hey,
Isn't it crazy? What great timing.
it's amazing how this all slots together, isn't it, Salty?
You wouldn't like, I don't have a map behind me with like thread like it's X-Files. Look at what they're doing. It's right there, guys. It's right there. Seriously. We'll skip over some of this stuff. I'm just talking about payrolls and where everybody's going. You know, a lot of this has to do with economics, which is something that I got my major in, so I'm still casually interested in, because the economics I learned at the end of the 20th century was the economics that worked. It wasn't this where you get to print money endlessly and then nothing happens, you know? The problem is we're now being led by algorithms. Algorithms, like artificial intelligence, are programmed to produce a result, a predefined outcome, to take data and inputs to realize what it was that the person who programmed that algorithm wanted. It is not artificial intelligence. It is digital manipulation, just like we're seeing on the weather and what's responsible for the weather changing. You all know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
If you're being paid to say that the reason why the weather is changing is because of humans, that's what your grant money is for, you are goddamn well invested to say that and find some bullshit made up thing that humans and cows are why the weather is changing. Purple Valkyrie, take it for a minute. I'm going to cough.
Absolutely. And again, just going back to what we were saying, this is completely a setup. If you follow the links back, you can see right back beyond past 2020 where this started, and by reading this article you can see where it's going, and this is what we're trying to kind of hammer home to you guys where all this is heading and what you can expect. It's not just fake alien invasions, it's far more insidious that we can expect. And as it says here, we've got 5 potentials that they put forward that's likely to cause the end of the world as we know it.
Now that we've had some wonderful foreplay and we've edged you all for about an hour and 20 minutes, we'll get into the meat and the potatoes. So this is, and I agree with a lot of this, these are the top 5 separate threats that could annihilate the earth and, of course, all of us and the animals and everybody else on it. Number 1, place your bets. A new deadly pandemic created in a National Institute of Health labs that will spread across Africa, that will have a death rate of 40%. Now, they're kind of referring to something which I am not going to get into, because when I talk about those things, I want to have the sources for it. But you've heard it, and it begins with the letter E. Number 2, Earth will be hit by solar winds, wiping out satellites in the global electrical grids, causing mass widespread famine, disease, crime, and death. That's otherwise known as a coronal mass injection, similar to a character event that occurred in the 1900s. Go ahead, Purple.
Yes, and of the five on this one is probably the one that will uh, that we could actually come back from as a society. Yes, it would knock us back to the Dark Ages, but at this point, would that be such a terrible thing?
I think it would actually take us back to the 1900s from a technology standpoint. The problem would be is that the younger generations don't know how to use tools.
Mm.
They don't even know how to use a compass and a map. And that what we really need to do is we'd have to jumpstart with a lot of the older people who knew how to make things. We're going to have to build horses, or not build. We're going to have to build buggies, windmills, other stuff like that to go back to it. If there was a CME, it depends on where the Earth would be getting hit by the sun. But generally speaking, a lot of the geomagnetic energy would probably wipe most things out on the planet. Australia maybe could survive. It just depends on where the sun hits. The problem with that is that here in the United States, and I want to do a show on what's going to happen with the fault line off the coast of Washington State, which is actually problematic. We'll talk about that. But all of our electrical equipment is surprise built in China. And all of our transistors, none of that stuff is built here in the United States. None of it. So if something like this were to happen and it didn't hit China, how much of a hurry do you think they'd be to get us back on our feet?
Yes, I'm sure they'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah. And Purple, let me know if there's any comments out there you want to grab.
Yes, absolutely. You just want to grab a couple. So Dovey said it happens. If that happens, he's becoming Amish.
Get used to the chicks with big bushes again. It's fine, Yeah, I said that. I don't care.
Smile a while for me says you'll have homeschool families left. It'll be a good reset.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible thing to say. Nobody wishes bad things. But have we really, would you call what we're living in the most advanced place in in human history? It doesn't really feel like that to me. It doesn't.
It doesn't really.
Yeah. Yeah, and the awesome one hits it on the head. They think men are women. How could they understand electronics that use male and female connectors? It's true, positive and negative. I grew up soldering radio kits from Radio Shack and building things like that and crystal diode stuff and some of the older stuff that will actually survive EMPs.
Mm-hmm.
Some solid state electronics. But I digress. Let's get into this. Purple Valkyrie, this is for you. Aliens are here. This is the third way that the planet Earth could be destroyed, and they're ready to make themselves visible for the general public. Number 4, AI will turn on humans and kill all of us, much like Battlestar Galactica predicted. And number 5, CERN will create a black hole, a singularity, which destroys the Earth. Purple, I'm going to let you talk.
Another dimension.
I'm going to let you talk because I have not talked this much in a long time, and I need a drink of water. I'll be back.
All right, I'm going to pick up with this CERN one, guys, because we've talked about this in the past, and you know how we feel about CERN, and we kind of wish that the damn thing had never been turned on. I still maintain that back when it came on, it shifted us into another dimension, which is why things haven't been the same since 2016. Really, you think back, that was probably the last time things actually felt normal or sane. And then we got into the 2020s and everything fell apart. But this CERN will create a black hole and swallow the Earth, most likely. The one thing you don't want to do is mess with quantum physics.
Yeah. So while all of this is occurring, these 5 likely outcomes, what is it that the best minds, like Purple Valkyrie was talking about, in government, academia, transnational corporations, what do they suggest that we as a species of human beings do to mitigate these 5 likely catastrophes? Well, Purple Valkyrie, the answer is simple. Sorry.
It usually is.
Eat fake meat, drive electric cars, be 100% carbon free. However, we also need a social credit system, and we need to own nothing and like it. So do you understand the what we're looking at here. There's a real threat, and then there is the Hegelian dialectic, which is where somebody made up a problem, figured out that they could create a solution which will give them power and money to that problem. They then create the problem. COVID, I'm looking at you. And then they have this thing that they've made to make all this money from the problem they've created by posing and putting a false solution to it. It's where we are.
It sounds complicated, but it's actually a lot simpler than they make it sound. Absolutely. And of all of these things, it says eat fake meat. There we go. You eat those cockroach burgers and like it. Drive electric cars. Don't see how that will help if we do get, say, if everything electric goes down, and be 100% carbon free. Does that include all the celebrities taking private jets everywhere to lecture us about climate change?
They're doing important work. Purple Valkyrie. They're doing important work with their cheese pizzas and banging chicks that are 20 years or 30 years younger than them. Yeah, Leo, I'm looking at you with your yachts. Yeah, and then let's get a developmentally delayed Scandinavian child to tell us all how the world's ending. How'd that work? I told you I was going to blow up my channel. The fact is we've had these solar winds for millennia. They have battered the planet for millennia. Some of these events have scoured all of the life off of Earth before, literally with the ultraviolet rays. It has happened before when there were, I think, some of the earlier periods of dinosaurs, which is why they downsized. And these species were just eradicated from the face of the Earth. Aliens, okay, are they around? Probably, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen one yet. I have seen UFOs. I have my own footage. I don't know what it is. I'm starting to think it's more DARPA stuff. It's more stuff that we as taxpayers in America paid for that they're screwing around with that we'll never know about, you know? In pandemics that are man-made, we all know what that was about. Don't we? And they're going to do it again.
And again,
guaranteed.
It goes back. A sick population is one that you can make a lot of money from.
So what are our leaders here in the West doing about it? Nothing. No, nothing. Yeah, we could look at war. I mean, wars out there, obviously having sick people and creating things gives Big Pharma money, which Big Pharma then gives to our politicians. Then we've got the third cartel behind all of this, which is really something that's why we have ESG, these transnational banks that are pushing all this. How will these banks survive in their big push for this? You'll own nothing and like it. Great Reset's Chinese social credit system where no one has money and everything is digital currency. Because technically social credit is not currency. It is an emotion. And this is part of what I've been thinking about. And we're going to start winding down, Purple.
Mm-hmm.
What this ESG score is about, all of this stuff and the rush to the Chinese credit system, okay? The value of credits, digital currency, which is controlled by the government based on your actions like on China, it isn't real. It isn't real. Part of the reason China has been buying gold for decades and has actually ramped it way up is because their currency, in my opinion, economically, is utter and complete fabricated dog shit. And everybody kind of knows it. Look at what's going on with their housing crisis right now. It's, again, something you're not going to hear talked about in the media, are you? It's interesting because I think something that all of us fear are central bank digital currencies, because that means you cannot buy anything without these banks knowing and it being reported to the government. And if you're on a watch list, that's problematic, isn't it? If you voted the wrong way, that's problematic, isn't it? Or how would you like your bank and the government to say, you know what, you've had too many cheeseburgers this month, you cannot buy meat, you have to eat the bugs. You don't think that's going to happen. That's exactly what it's all about. You've driven too many miles in your car, so now you can't buy any more, or you can't charge your Tesla or whatever it is.
Yes, and you think that that's far-fetched, but they've done that in the UK. There are zones that you cannot drive in. You cannot go a certain distance if you live in areas, if it's out of your postcode.
Yep. The problem with all of this is if you got this AI-driven social credit system and you go through a checkout line and then that AI software global surveillance thing says you don't have enough points to buy meat and potatoes, even if you have cash or gold and silver, and they won't allow your transaction. What happens in that case? And this is kind of what it all comes down to. The store at that point makes no sale. When stores don't make sales, they don't make money, and they lose money, meaning that produce goes bad, meaning they order less products from other companies, which means those companies stop being able to make more products and make profits of their own. This is kind of what the ESG stuff that's affecting entertainment is doing and going to do when it hits other factors like stores, food production, other places like that. Only select large transnationals will be allowed to be part of this system, which is why they're pushing what they're pushing. I don't know. This is an apocalyptic hellscape to me. We've been going a while and my voice is starting to go, but it's the same thing. The government is going to say you can't buy a house, even if you have enough cash or collateral or something to trade in, because your social credit system isn't any good, because your AI monitor says you can't. This is where all of their time and energy is going, is into creating these systems. Instead, they're not looking at the Earth's magnetic core. They're not looking at a whole bunch of things. They're not looking at asteroids. They're not looking at the sun. They're worried about this and how they can control you and get rid of you, and in some situations, delete you from Western civilization, which is why they're destroying our pop culture to bring in people who will be more than willing to be slaves or led by warlords. It's not racist. That's what they've said at the World Economic Forum. But in the meantime, we've got a deadly pandemic, manufactured, vaccine ready. Of course, will we get hit by a CME? One, we get hit by them all the time. There were some bad ones, but will it be a big one? The aliens thing, I don't know. I think there's aliens. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if this new whistleblower is legit. He seems pretty sus to me. I don't know. AI, I think that's a big problem, because I think that AI was deliberately created to kill all of us. And then you've got CERN, where they're building Mega CERN. So
because CERN wasn't big enough to begin with, we've got to have one even bigger.
Yeah. So there we are. Those are the top 5 things. I have not looked at my poll. Let's see what chat says right now. What manufactured crisis agenda push has you the most concerned? Food supply. This is out of 37 votes. That's remarkable.
Nice.
35 people say the food supply, and rightfully so. 46% say going after the kids, which is kind of what I expected. And it's why I have faith in this group of us, these people that hang out and people who come and watch me and hang out and watch other people's shows, whether it be Prophet or Brian, a Nerdporia Lifeform, or any of the people that are out there. Only 11% say that fake UFO alien invasion has them laying awake at night, and then only 8% say solar flares are a natural event. When you go after the children and the next generation of a culture, that is with intention. And when you take that away and you take away the humanity of those children and their innocence, you permanently damage them as individuals. And I think that, that is why people have pushed back. That's why Anheuser-Busch is in the shitter. That's why Target is still in free fall. That is why a lot of other corporations have backed way off on the rainbowy la bullshit that we all see in June.
Yes. Funny how that kind of got phased out very quickly.
Except for Activision.
Good old Activision.
Yeah, look up that story. That YouTuber who's just had a little baby said, "Don't come after the kids," and they say that was anti-gay statements. How does going after kids, and you know what I mean? How is that the same as gay? Because it's not. And there are plenty of people in the LGB community, and you notice I'm leaving some letters out, that agree with that. Some very leftist women as well. There's articles that I read about that. And these are people who are as left as it can get, that are like, don't do this. Don't mess with kids. They want everything else. They want carbon and all this other bullshit out there. But yeah. Sarah, look at this. Sarah Green says, it looks like the man in the high castle with all these dimension shifts. It's kind of true. Sorry if that was me, but it's just kind of crazy, to be honest with you. We did have one comment, Sarah Green, I wanted to bring up. This is addressed to you, Purple Valkyrie. I'll let you read.
Thank you. She says that happy story for Purple. My son gave me Hogwarts Legacy as a Parents' Day gift. There's an NPC witch in the game that looks almost exactly like you. Oh,
Oh,
okay, that's awesome. Little side note: I haven't actually bought the game yet. I'm waiting for it to drop in price because I'm, kind of a
I almost
console
bought it.
pauper.
I almost bought it yesterday because I want the physical media. And
Same.
and then I was standing looking at the new Xbox X and I'm like $600. And I'm like,
Mm.
you know, I mean, I just because you can do a thing doesn't mean that you should, but that's just me. And I've never been a paragon of self-control when it comes to electronics, but my Xbox One works just fine. So
Oh, but
oh,
that's
hail.
awesome.
Dino,
Thank
we were
you.
talking about you. We were covering we actually talked about that guy, that Gorsh, that was talking about the UFO stuff and our takes on it. But yeah, Dino, I would love to come on your show or have you come on to talk about some of this stuff because we found some more we found some more data on this dude and what it all means. And yes, you are correct, sir. From says Nick Merckx.
Mhm.
That's the guy, really big YouTuber, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. And what do we got? Oops, sorry, chat jumped on me. This one comes to us from Dempsey. I'm most concerned about the birth rates in the United States. I agree.
With good reason. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing in the UK and Scandinavian countries. And they're booming along in Eastern Europe, though. They are. Poland, Romania, those countries that had to deal with the bullshit of people who did communism right, the former Soviet Union, they're dealing with that as well. So, oh, look at this. What are you doing? You're an enabler. Buy it. You will not regret it. It's a huge middle finger to the book. All right.
All right, we will.
Gadfly Fiction, we'll do this and then we'll start saying goodbye. He says, a society that sacrifices its children for the sake of its elders is a sick and twisted society. Yeah, I had
Also,
an article about a tech startup millionaire guy who has been taking his son's blood to run through his body. His biological children, he takes a pint out of them whenever that's medically okay and filters it into his own body to keep himself young. Could you imagine, because that is quite literally vampirism, can you imagine looking at your own flesh and blood children and going, you know what, I'm going to use them for their bodily fluids? If this guy needs a liver, what is he going to do? Just stage an accident and get it? I mean, I don't know what that is, but that doesn't sound like a human being to me. It doesn't sound like a good human being to me.
no, it doesn't sound ethical either, or in fact legal.
Take it easy, Zombie Ox. You guys, thanks for jumping on. Sorry we've been a whale for a while. I really enjoyed today, Purple Valkyrie. Thank you so much for the super chats, everybody.
Yes,
And
thank
thank
you
you for the
guys.
comments and being here. Hopefully, we'll be doing this on a weekly basis. Time zone changes are difficult between Purple and I, but we want to get this going. You guys have been on fire. Your comments have been fantastic. If you have an idea for another topic you'd like to cover, please hit Purple on myself on Twitter or hit me on the channel or wherever it is and just let me know. We already have we have an entire show already set up. And but what are we going to call that? Weird medicine? What were we going to call it, Purple, throughout
It's
the ages?
medical madness.
Medical
Yeah.
madness. So all of the
Yes.
weird medical procedures and weird spiritual things and all throughout history and cultures. That's really crazy and weird. It's not quite as weird as telling an 8-year-old that they were born in the wrong body, but we'll take a funny tack on that as well. What a fucked up
Back in the
world
day,
we live in.
doctors would just drill a hole in your head.
Oh, you guys are fantastic. Oh, thank you very much, Sergey, and it's great to see you too. Just once again, I'm so glad to see the two of you putting out content
Thank
again. I miss
you.
seeing and hearing you lately. Yeah, YouTube does not make it easy. YouTube does not make it easy. Hail to Smilowell. You two have been missed. Thank you so much. Well, you've been missed too. Everybody, please hit that thumbs up button. If you feel so inclined, shout us out on Twitter or social media. Leave a comment after the video. That really helps. But otherwise, I'm just glad you're here. Thanks a lot. Purple, what do you got going on? You want to say something before we get out of here?
Yeah, let me say huge thank you to Salty for bringing this up today. Love getting to do these, as you guys know, and it's really fun to do it on Salty's channel because he has such energy. Some of these stories I didn't even know that we were going to cover today, which makes it even more fun. But to see all you guys back is amazing. So thank you so much.
Cheers. All right, everybody. I got to build a new outro. And I didn't wanna run with the long one because just there's been a lot of changes on my channel, so I'm probably just gonna go ahead and run out with the TV static image, but thanks for being here. Look for us to be live on Purple's channel soon. I think this is a good time to stream. I may just do this, now. Figure it out. Everybody, thanks for being here. Take care. Have fun tonight. Don't sit in front of your computer all day. Go outside. Go outside and see trees. Do that. Everyone take care. Have a good night.
Good night, all.